Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to the Season 7 Commander Cards series. Today we're talking about Commander number 12, Pictor, a Walker Commander. Not the most popular commander out there, but actually quite a formidable enemy. Well, you don't see a lot of Pictor players out there because he doesn't have any polarizing big hits like Vega or amazing defense like Rogers, and with the airship meta always being a problem, the Walker commanders really don't shine because they can really only go against infantry. And even though infantry is now on the rise, we still haven't seen that much Walker play, but we are going to start seeing it. So, let's talk about Pictor and explain why he made the Season 7 Commander Card series and why commanders like Chief, Moonshadow did not. In a nutshell, frankly, one-slot bust commanders like Chief and Moonshadow are great. But what Pictor brings to the table is almost a 40% guaranteed hit. It's a 20% guaranteed hit. And it not only does the Walker Awakening on his hit, it also does sticky bombs at 60% chance. So when he hits on his one-slot bust, he also hits the other troops in slots 2 and 3 much harder than the total output of, say, Moonshadow or Chief. It's a close call. If you like Moonshadow, Chief, and one-slot bust like that, and just use the regular Walker Awakening, that's up to you. But today's video, we're talking about Pictor because overall, I think he's the best offering for one-slot busts in the Walker class. And he's a lot of fun to play. We got a great replay to show you. If you watched yesterday's episode of Arcs with Deranged, you got to see what his Pictor can do. And I'm sure going into this Galactic Battle Season 7's playoffs, which starts next week, we're going to see a little bit more Walker action other than just Elf and Full Metal. So let's talk Pictor. Well, like I said, he's got a 20% guaranteed hit, but it's like Medusa's sonar. It actually hits everyone on his troops. So if he decides to build a little more balance, which this build can accommodate, you don't have to go glass cannon offense build with him. You can go balance, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And if you're, let me stop. If you're not a tier 12 player, I'm still going to provide information for accounts that are still getting into tier 9 or on their way to tier 9. On their way to tier 11. You don't have to be a tier 12 player. I'm going to talk about both things. So if you do want to play Walker class and you aren't at the super end of the game yet, I'll be able to throw in some information for you as well. So we'll get there. All right, so the Acuity gift buffs all of his troops with a guaranteed hit. That helps trigger sticky bombs because in order for sticky bombs to hit all the troops in the front row like a Walker Awakening, you actually have to land the hit on the primary slot. So sticky bombs does well with Acuity gift, and of course when you're going to gem, what you want to do is make sure that you actually do land that hit. So you definitely want to pick up Taurus, but actually Leo is the best. It ignores your opponent's defense, so it does hit the hardest at the even the middle to higher end series. So Leo is the hardest hitting gem for Walker troops, followed by Taurus. Now, with the new Cassiopeia gems, what that Cassiopeia advanced gem does, it actually gives you Tina's buff. So it makes you immune to debuffs, but it doesn't stop spell damage, so you still get hit by plasmas and elves. But it does take away debuffs that you may be getting hit by say, the new Ares or Virgo gems, which are going to be a lot more popular. So it's up to you if you want to run those. If you're running a glass cannon build, you won't need them, but if you're running for more of a balanced build, you can definitely do that. Now, I've already opened up my my Cassiopeia gem, so I can't actually look at them. They're somewhere down that list. I'm not going to go that far down. But yeah, so, Leo Taurus is just fine. If you do have a third gem set and you do want to build ballast, like I said, Cassiopeia is good. Or Gemini if you're really stuck on that glass cannon build. But if you are at tier 12, your gear options may be different than here. Everyone up to tier 11 is going to want to use Magwell and Eye of Abyss. You can make an argument for Devastation Helmet. It gives raw attack instead of accuracy and crit damage, but you're going to be critting on everything with him anyway. And that extra accuracy does help. So you lose about 15% damage when you go with Eye of Abyss instead of Devastation Helmet. That's about what I find in my research. Apparently, super late game, it does change a little bit, but I like either one. Choose whatever one's better for you or whatever you prefer. And then, of course, Magwell is the only damage in the pants. But like I said, this is for tier 11 and lower. If you're a tier 12 player, you're going to be using Tear Space, which is the ability on the tier 12 troops that gets a lot of their damage from HP, that bonus hit. Fearless provides damage reduction from your opponent's tier 12 Tear Space and also HP to damage your opponent with your Tear Space. So those accounts may want to run Fearless. you do lose a little bit of your glass cannon potency in your offense, but you pick up a little tear space damage. I personally think if I'm going to be running an account like this, I'm going to want to have the ability to play it tanky on my server, glass cannon in the galactic battle when I have to. So I personally wouldn't do Magiwell Glass. I would go for the Fearless Pants. But that's a preference thing. And, same with the Eye of Abyss. Eye of Abyss is going to get replaced by Valkyrie when that comes around if you're a Tier 12 player for the maximum amount of survivability. Now, if you're a Tier 11 player and you're thinking, I might get Gift of the Valkyrie just for the survival and walk away from the attack, you can. You could do that. But you don't get that bonus damage from tear space yet, because that's what that HP provides. The Tier 12 players are going to get Gift of the Valkyrie right away because that huge tear space potential. But then also later on, they may want to consider getting this new best in slot item for walkers. This, what is it called? The Natural Whisper. I did a video on it for the best in slot gear. It has walker HP, which is super nice, and it has crit wither to really soften your opponent. It does lower your own accuracy, so we're not too thrilled about that, but I just think if you are a Tier 12 player, you need to get serious about the super late game gear. You're already there. Stop messing around with the last generation stuff. Get the new gen stuff. But like I said, that's also preference. That's just me spouting off. So we're going to get to see a lot of action with walkers this season to see how that kind of plays out. The last thing is we still have weapons to talk about. That's pretty easy, right? Titans for damage, pretty obvious. If you don't have Titans, Apocalyptors are just fine, or Skywalkers. Grab a little bit of extra crit. Make sure you don't lose that crit from crit wither fighting your opponents. Still not that popular yet, but I think it's coming. So Apocalyptors are fine, Skywalkers are fine, but eventually you do want Titans. That raw attack is huge, and you're gonna need it. But then you've got your Shadow, your chess piece. Where do you go with the chess piece? Well, I personally think Shadow's the best because it comes with HP and defense, good survival, but also resistance weakened, which in a way is accuracy. Because if your opponent is an airship or they have a little bit of strength and weakened, it can take that edge off, give you a little more chance to hit. So personally, I like Shadow the best, and it works with Tear Space because it's got the HP built in, but some players may opt for the, and here's the Commander card. If you want this Commander card, it's in the link in the description below. Just download it right from Imgur. Make sure you get the high-def copy. Otherwise, when you go to zoom in, you won't be able to read that text. If the text doesn't look this good, you have a low-definition version. Come back to the video, re-download it. Make sure that's the one that gets shared around as well. Feel free to share this with your guild and friends. These are for everyone. That's part of what this series is for, to kind of make easy access. Kind of too long, didn't read. What am I looking at here? So share this with your guild if they want to know a quick rundown of how to run Pictor in the game. But yeah, like I said, the Invincible chess piece. Is that what it's called? Invincible? Oh gosh. Yeah, Invincible. It gets 6 stats per level. It provides a little bit of defense. A little bit of HP and a little bit of dodge. So no defense, which we like because we're trying to avoid Vega. And it does have great raw stats, but it doesn't have the resistance weakened insurance like Shadow does. The Shadow provides the strength and weakened insurance, or SWE insurance we like to call it, but also it works with T12 Tear Space. So that's kind of up to you guys. You feel it out. Decide if you want to build pure glass cannon, somewhat balanced, or maybe have 2 sets of gear. It's really up to you. So that pretty much covers the gear. So we'll go ahead and do a replay for Pictor. And, we should do his flavor text, right? We haven't done that in a while. All right. The Krees established country spans 100 star systems. Its ruler wanted Pictor to hold office, but he put it off again. One day, when he was working out, he met like-minded Yuri and finally found his own way. This is Yuri's buddy. Oh, that kind of makes... No, it doesn't make sense. Is he called a Kree? Isn't that stolen from Marvel? Isn't that what the Krees are called in Marvel? Marvel Kree. Yeah. They straight up stole that from... Inspired by Marvel. All right. Okay. Moving on. Let's ignore that and let's move on to what he can do. So here's one of Deranged replays against that Tier 11. This is a Tier 12 versus Tier 11 replay. It's not the best example of Tier 12 versus Tier 12. I know that. Pictor is also not a commander that's going to win toe-to-toe fights against maybe Vega in a normal fair fight, or Rogers, or maybe Elf, because Elf is a beast. He's really got to have enough damage to overcome Reinhardt, Elf, and out-glass cannon the glass cannon commanders. Overall, I wouldn't put him in a top 3 commander list, but I do put him in the top 8. I think he's definitely an honorable mention and super scary to run into. If you full march somebody who's one slot busting with Pictor with the right gear, you are in trouble and you're going to get caught. So absolutely wonderful Walker Commander. Here's the replay. If you're wondering what you're seeing, the leadership is quite a bit more in Vega's favor. I don't know exactly how much offhand. Vega's about 30% bigger, I want to say. Ooh, could be wrong there. But the first hit takes off half the slot. So Sticky Bomb's level 60. Here's the Sticky Bomb's trigger with the Awakening and the Tear Space. So you got to watch that again. So what happens is he gets the Awakening and the Sticky Bombs, both 60% chance to trigger. If the slot successfully hits, then the Awakening will go off, but also after that, Sticky Bombs goes. But between the Awakening and the Sticky Bombs is the Tear Space damage, the base stat for Tier 12 troops. Or the base skill, sorry. So there's the base melee. Here comes the Awakening. All right, now here's going to come the Tear Space. Pop. Here comes the Sticky Bombs. Pop. So he wipes out the whole front row. Absolutely devastating. Now he does have a higher tier troop. He does have amazing gear. This Vega, I don't know. We do know what his gear is. And let's double check that. But it's still quite good. I mean, and he was able to take that hit pretty decently. Not that well, not for tier 12. But that's kind of his build, right? He has dodge on the chest instead of the shadow. But you know, that would have been a better choice in my opinion. But you can see the damage there. Let's not go too far with that replay. Take it for what it is. Like I said, not number 1, number 2 in the game. Not an easily polarized best commander in the game. But certainly an honorable mention. Certainly worth keeping your eye on and watching out for. So that covers Pictor. I really don't want to dig too much further into it. I think that about covers it. If you want this card, once again, just check the description below, share it around, read it out. It says all the basic stuff, kind of the rundown. And then the very end, it says what he's strong against and what he's weak against. So watch out for Rogers, Reinhardt, and Vega. And I should probably say Elf, too. Elf could be a danger. But he's really strong against debuff commanders. All those new gems that are coming out, the Virgo, the Ares uses. Airship's not really doing a lot of debuffing. I guess you could say no. So it doesn't even need to be doing debuffing. I'm thinking of a different commander. I'm thinking of Full Metal. Okay, so he's strong against... Why am I getting stuck on this? I really want to say because he purges himself. Oh, I was assuming you'd be running Cassiopeia because the gem stats are so high on him. That's not necessarily the case. Most people probably are going to run guaranteed hit skills. But if you are running that Cassiopeia set, that's going to be really good. Hope I'm not saying the wrong gem. That would be embarrassing. All right, final thought on Pictor right off of the summary here. The Walker Meter's polarized, and Pictor is a combat damage only commander. He's got a great guaranteed hit skill that buffs all of them. And with a little bit of Crit Wither, a little bit of Cassiopeia 5-piece, he becomes a very strong balance build. Throw that Shadow on him, throw those Fearless Pants on him, throw that new gem on him. Keep his damage there with those double Titans or whatever you have that's best for damage at your tier. And you can really see a pretty strong, balanced main commander. You don't have to build him glass. It's okay to have a little bit of balance. But yeah, put him in one slot bust formation and give all the infantry commanders hell every time they come near you, including Plasma. He still gets hit hard by Plasma, but if you're one slot busting with him, you'll do fine. Not as good as Hoodoo, but definitely the better version of Hoodoo for the main commander builds for super late game or even on your way to becoming a server boss. Still not a fan of the Wild Rose penetration weapon yet. There is a use for those. I think it's a more like Sui. You've got to have enough to make it worth it. Right now, Titans are better for most people. We'll dig into that later in the season. Okay, my name is Melt. Thanks for watching this video. Please consider subscribing to the channel. We're almost at that 5,000 goal. So thank you for everyone for being a part of this journey, and we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.